Something is coming from Sony, and the leaks are getting too specific to ignore. The A6900 has been surfacing in pieces for months now, and honestly, the picture it's painting is wild. We're talking a completely rethought APS-C body, specs that are creeping into full-frame territory, and a price point that's going to spark some serious debate. If you've been sitting on the fence about your next camera, this video might just push you off it. Stay with me, because the last detail I'll cover might be the most important one. At the core of everything is a rumored 33-megapixel stacked APS-C sensor, and that word stacked is doing a lot of heavy lifting. Stacked architecture means the data reads off the sensor dramatically faster, which translates to less rolling shutter, snappier electronic shutter performance, and cleaner high-speed shots in general. For context, stacked sensors have mostly lived in flagship cameras until now. Sony apparently decided APS-C deserves that treatment too, and combined with a next-generation Bionz XR2 processor, the numbers coming out of this camera look almost unreasonable for the format. We're talking roughly 30 frames per second on the electronic shutter and around 15 FPS mechanically. That is legitimately fast enough to challenge what professional sports shooters have traditionally needed much bigger rigs to achieve. On the video side, Sony seems to have resisted the temptation to chase an attention-grabbing spec nobody actually needs. Instead of slapping 8K on the box and calling it a day, the A6900 is rumored to shoot oversampled 4K at 60 FPS, pulling from that higher-res sensor to give you genuinely clean, detailed footage. There's also 4K 120 FPS in the mix with a slight crop, which for slow motion work is a serious capability. 8.5 stops of in-body image stabilization rounds this out, and if that number holds up, handheld shooting on this thing is going to feel like a completely different experience compared to the A6700. Sony appears to have heard the ergonomic complaints, because the A6900 is rumored to come in a slightly thicker body with a more substantial grip and additional customizable control buttons. That might sound minor on paper, but ask anyone who's spent a full day shooting with a small mirrorless body, grip depth matters. There's also chatter about a higher resolution EVF, which would be a meaningful upgrade for anyone who shoots through the viewfinder rather than relying purely on the rear screen. Small changes, but they add up to a camera that feels more intentional in the hand.
Here's where it gets complicated. The A6900 is reportedly shipping with a single CF Express Type A card slot, and that single detail has split the community right down the middle. CF Express Type A is fast, no question about that, but going single slot at this price level means no backup, no redundancy, and a real limitation for anyone shooting professionally where losing a card mid-shoot isn't just inconvenient, it's a disaster. Pair that with a rumored buffer that caps out relatively quickly given those insane burst speeds, and you've got a camera that's built like a sprinter but might gas out before the finish line on long sequences.
Current leaks point to a price range somewhere between $1,800 and $2,200, which puts the A6900 right in a fascinating and slightly uncomfortable spot. At that number, you're genuinely close to entry-level full-frame bodies, and buyers are going to weigh that comparison hard. That said, if the stacked sensor delivers what the specs suggest, there's a real argument that APS-C at this level offers a reach advantage and compactness that full-frame simply can't match. Release timing is being floated around late 2025 or early 2026. So we're likely close enough now that official confirmation shouldn't be far off. The A6900 isn't trying to be safe, it's trying to be remembered. Whether Sony sticks the landing depends on whether those specs survive the transition from rumor to real-world performance. So here's the question worth leaving you with. At this price, would you pick the A6900 over an entry full frame, or does APS-C still feel like a compromise to you? Drop your answer below.
What if the next Sony camera doesn't chase 8K hype, but quietly becomes the best 4K video camera money can buy? And what if it does that at a lower price than you expect? The Sony A7S III changed the game back in 2020. It became the run-and-gun king, low-light monster, reliable workhorse. But 5 years in tech is basically a lifetime, and now the A7S IV leaks are getting loud. In this video, we're breaking down the sensor upgrade, 6K open gate rumors, rolling shutter improvements, AI autofocus, and the big question everyone's asking: could this thing actually launch cheaper? Let's get into it. So, what do we know? The strongest leaks point to a brand new stacked sensor landing around 24 megapixels, with roughly 20 megapixels optimized for video. Now, I know what you're thinking. More megapixels means worse low light, right? That's been the S-series philosophy forever. Keep it around 12 megapixels, maximize sensitivity. But here's where it gets interesting. Sony is rumored to use dual-layer transistor pixel technology. Think of it like giving the sensor a second floor. Instead of cramming light-capturing components and processing electronics into the same tiny space, they split them across layers. That means better light absorption and faster readout speeds without sacrificing resolution. If this is real, you're basically getting higher resolution and improved dynamic range without killing the legendary low-light performance. That's not a minor refresh, that's a serious generational jump. Now let's talk video features. The headline rumor is 6K open gate recording. If you have never used open gate, think of your sensor as a full canvas instead of a cropped strip. You capture the entire sensor height and width. That means you can shoot once and deliver horizontal YouTube, vertical shorts, and even square content without reshooting. This is huge for hybrid creators. One take, multiple formats, maximum flexibility in post. And here's the kicker. That 4K you shoot will likely be oversampled from 6K. In simple terms, the camera captures more detail and then scales it down. That means sharper footage, cleaner textures, and better color data compared to native 4K. Sony seems to be doubling down on perfect 4K instead of chasing 8K headlines. And honestly, that might be the smarter move. Stacked sensors are not just about resolution, they are about speed. Faster readout means dramatically reduced rolling shutter. You know, that jelly effect when you pan too fast. If the leaks are accurate, the A7S4 could approach near global shutter performance. That would make it a dream for action shooters, sports filmmakers, and anyone who hates warped vertical lines. Now add Sony's newer AI processing unit into the mix. We've already seen it in the A7R5 and A9 III. It recognizes subjects based on body shape and movement, not just faces. That means tracking a person even if they turn away or wear a helmet. For solo creators, that's massive. You can trust the autofocus. You stop babysitting focus and start focusing on the story. That's the kind of upgrade that actually changes your workflow. Sony also seems ready to fix one of the most requested usability issues. The A7S4 is expected to adopt the 4-axis multi-angle screen from the A7R5, and trust me on this one, that's not a small detail. Traditional flip screens are great for vlogging, but annoying when cables are plugged in. This new design tilts and flips independently. On a long shoot, that kind of flexibility makes a difference. We also expect the high-resolution electronic viewfinder to stay, possibly brighter and smoother. Small refinements, but ones that professionals will appreciate. Now let's address the elephant in the room. Why stop at 6K when competitors are pushing 8K? Here's the deal. True 8K requires around 33 megapixels or more. That creates more heat, bigger files, and often worse low light. Sony seems to be making a calculated decision. Instead of being an 8K spec monster, the A7S4 will likely be the ultimate 4K tool. And in real-world production, most projects are still delivered in 4K, even big-budget films. So focusing on better dynamic range, cleaner oversampled footage, and reliable performance might be the smarter play. Now about the price. This is where rumors get interesting. Manufacturing improvements and competitive pressure from Canon and Panasonic could push Sony to position the A7S4 slightly lower than the A7S III launched at. Imagine a meaningful upgrade with a slightly more aggressive price tag. So here's the big question. Are you waiting for the A7S4, or does your current setup still get the job done? Drop your thoughts in the comments. And if you found this breakdown helpful, like the video, subscribe, and hit the bell so you don't miss the next deep dive. Because if these leaks are real, Sony might be about to remind everyone why the S series became legendary in the first place.